From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Well, good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's Wednesday, January 14th.
Trash day at my house. Let's open up the windows, start a brand new day together.
I woke up to an email this morning, and that's how I found out.
Students of a long-time San Francisco art school shocked to hear they've been Bigfooted by a big university. Who's moving in and what's shutting down?
Frustrated for the whole week, and I was still not sleeping well because I always thinking what's next.
We're in Burlingame where disruptions rule the day, streets shut down and losses to businesses. Officials say blame an underground gas leak. How long will it last? Slow down, Bay Area. We're live where speed cameras go live today, where they are, and what you need to know about fines.
Back streets back, all right.
Back streets back to Bottle Rock. We have your wine country lineup. Let's do this.
All right, it is time to get you rolling this morning, and we do want to start with some breaking news that could impact your morning commute, especially if you rely on BART's Yellow Line. Service has stopped between Concord and Orinda. This is due to a trackside power issue. Yet again, more issues with BART. Crews are currently on scene there, and a bus bridge is in the works for the two stations to help commuters get back and forth. So if you want to skip the using BART this morning and use the roadways instead, I'm going to show you here. The freeways through Orinda are looking pretty good. If you want to take 680 up on the roadways there, make your way off of Highway 4 out of Concord. It is getting a little slow on 242, but early on, you still have a good shot at making some pretty good time if you want to skip using BART and use the roadways instead. Other than that, everything is pretty smooth. We are seeing brake lights building over at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, but we'll keep an eye on this BART issue and try to bring you a live report in just a few. That's a look at your morning commute.
Well, taking a live look outside on this Wednesday morning before the sun comes up, we're watching your forecast halfway through the work week. This is sort of where we start to go, hey, Saturday, I see you. Jess?
Just around the corner, right? If only it was tomorrow. But we are halfway through that work week forecast, and as we head outside on this chilly morning, I want to start off with what's happening. We're sitting in the 30s, anywhere from Santa Rosa across the hills over into Napa. Our temperature contour map this morning still showing below normal conditions now, but we actually will sit a little bit above average as we head into this afternoon with our daytime highs topping off in the upper 60s throughout the Santa Clara Valley. Upper 60s off into our coastal communities. San Francisco today sitting at 61 degrees, similar for our friends just across the Golden Gate Bridge all the way up in places like Novato and Petaluma. Now, the National Weather Service has brought back that beach hazard statement with sneaker waves definitely possible as we head into the next couple days all along our California coastline. I want everybody to keep that in mind because, of course, those coastal communities look beautiful with sunshine in upper 60s, but you want to be very careful out there along the shoreline. If you walk your dogs along there, make sure they're on a leash. We'll have more on this coming up in just a bit. For now, back to you.
All right, Jessica, thank you. Well, moving around the Bay for headlines in your community, new developments this morning in the killing of a legendary Oakland football coach. The man accused of taking John Beam's life is expected to enter a plea in court today, a full 2 months after the deadly shooting. Prosecutors say 27-year-old Cedric Irving Jr. shot and killed the Laney College athletic director on campus in November. Irving is charged with murder with a gun enhancement. He has had several court hearings, but has yet to enter a plea. He is expected to do so today. Well, this morning, the man accused of shooting an 11-year-old girl in Antioch is in custody. Jail records show 23-year-old Ryan Hardy turned himself in to the San Francisco Sheriff's Office. He's been on the run for more than a week. Police say Hardy opened fire at an apartment complex on January 5th, hitting the girl while she was in a car. Her parents say she remains in critical condition, but is showing signs of recovery. And a big change is coming to San Francisco's waterfront. City leaders just gave the green light to remove an iconic landmark that sparked debate for years. The Board of Supervisors voted 10-1 to allow the removal of the Vaillancourt fountain from Embarcadero Plaza. City engineers called the 710-ton concrete structure a safety hazard, and plans are in place to put the structure in storage during a major plaza renovation. Preservation is pushed back, but most supervisors said the safety risk left them no choice. Removal could start by mid-February.
Protests escalate in Iran, and so do the numbers of those killed by government crackdown. Sources tell CBS News 12,000 people are dead. Yesterday, we told you more than 600. That's a huge jump in numbers. Killed for raising their voices against the Iranian regime. So cheering on the protesters, none other than President Donald Trump. He's doubling down this morning on messaging to those who are putting their lives on the line, protesting against Iran's regime. In fact, here's what he had to say. Listen.
Keep protesting. Take over your institutions if possible. And all I say to them is help is on its way.
CBS Evening News' Tony DeCopel spoke exclusively with Mr. Trump, pushing for answers on what that means. Help is on the way. Here's what he had to say.
Americans woke up this morning and they saw that you said help is on the way.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a lot of help on the way and in different forms, including economic help from our standpoint, and not going to help Iran very much.
People in many cities around the world staging demonstrations in support of Iranian protesters. And of course, we know this. That includes many supporters in the Bay Area. In fact, you see behind me, one gathering alone saw more than 1,000 showing up. And that includes Bay Area resident Arman Mahmoudi. He's seen two of his cousins executed in Iran. His parents were political refugees. Here are his.
This government will kill people at an exponential rate as long as it's in power. And it's a massacre that's happening. I'm not worried about politics or ideology. I'm worried about lives.
Worried about lives, Mahmoudi adds. More protests are on their way, hoping amidst Iran's total shutdown of the internet this morning. Somehow people there know what people here and all over the world are doing to support their resistance to the Iranian regime.
Well, taking you live to downtown Burlingame this morning, where streets around California Drive and Broadway, look at this, are still shut down. You see that road closed sign right there in the middle of the street there. Well, crews are still dealing with another underground gas leak, this time affecting one of AT&T's vaults. The company says the gas isn't coming from its equipment, but it's still checking everything out just as a precaution. The Broadway district has already spent a week facing outages and closures after gas was found in a PG&E vault, and business owners say it's been a nightmare for sales.
The entire community has been devastated with a traffic nightmare. Getting through the streets, it's a nightmare.
And as Max Darrow reports, the outages have already cost some shops thousands of dollars in lost business and inventory.
We need to make at least $3,000 for my wholesale.
Right now, Javier Santiago is playing an unexpected game of catch-up with thousands of dollars on the line.
Very behind, and I'm very stressing out.
He owns Preston's Candy and Ice Cream on Broadway in Burlingame. And over the last week, he's lost thousands of dollars worth of inventory, primarily ice cream.
Like $6,000.
Potential sales, and he's concerned he won't be able to fulfill wholesale orders he's on the hook for.
You can see I have only a few. Usually this shelf is completely full.
All because of a problem that was completely out of his control.
And also we have at my door the generator running.
After a few power outages last week, PG&E discovered gasoline was leaking into some electric vaults in Burlingame. A spokesperson says the petroleum product came from a third-party source. The utilities equipment does not use or contain the product. They de-energized equipment, brought in generators, and worked with the city and county to fix the problem. But as that happened, a major intersection shut down.
California in both directions, Broadway in both directions.
The power problems and subsequent road closure, says Mayor Michael Brownrigg, meant a 1-2 punch for business owners along Broadway.
They're upset, and again, I completely understand why.
Are there any talks here in Burlingame with PG&E to try and find some remedy for these business owners who are out thousands of dollars?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's too soon to figure out remuneration and who pays for what.
A PG&E spokesperson says their vaults are sealed and fixed. But right as crews were getting ready to wrap up work Monday, the mayor told us additional gasoline-infused water was found leaking into other underground vaults in the area not owned by PG&E, and the intersection had to close down yet again.
PG&E is not in the petrochemical business, so somebody else is the creator of those petrochemicals, and I hope that the source of that leak gets found quickly and appropriately remediated.
Back at Preston's, where the bell at the front door isn't ringing as frequently as it typically would, Santiago says he and his neighbors certainly could use some serious help.
It's frustrated for the whole week, and I was still not sleeping well because I always thinking, what's next?
Not the start of a new year he'd hoped for, but he's playing the hand he's been dealt as best he can.
PG&E spokesperson told us once the fire department gives them the all clear that it is safe to re-energize customers, they'll start the process of taking them off the generators.
Moving on the map in San Francisco this morning, and the debate that just doesn't seem to want to go away. Newly installed San Francisco Supervisor Alan Wong's push to reopen the Great Highway has failed. So he wanted to open the highway to traffic on weekdays, but then keep the park that voters approved recently for weekend use. And he wanted it on a ballot. But Wong needed the backup of his fellow supervisors and just could not get it. We met with a neighbor, Heidi, talking about next steps.
We want to work with our supervisor to build the most thriving Sunset District that we can, and we see the park as a huge part of that. And there's so much our neighborhood should focus on. We want to work on public transit, schools, supporting our local businesses.
The fight's not over, though. A new group now collecting signatures from citizens to get the possibility of cars returning to the Great Highway for weekdays only. They're out collecting signatures for what they hope will become a question on the November ballot. Did you hear about this? A college shakeup in San Francisco to report this morning.
Yeah, Vanderbilt University announced it's opening up a satellite campus in the city. This is happening next year. The Nashville, Tennessee-based school will set up shop in Potrero Hill, taking over the current campus of California College for the Arts. So that means CCA will shut down operations next year. But the only problem here is almost no one at CCA knew about the shutdown until the Vanderbilt news came out.
So our Brad Hamilton spoke to a lot of you who were blindsided by the move.
A lot of people are definitely very affected by this.
It was a shocking way to wake up for Anna Small.
I woke up to an email this morning, and that's how I found out, and then I sent it to my parents.
The message from California's College of Arts telling students like Anna and faculty that San Francisco's last remaining nonprofit art school would close after the 26-27 school year. The announcement tied to a press conference where Mayor Daniel Lurie stood alongside Vanderbilt University leaders announcing plans to open a full-time campus in San Francisco by the 27-28 academic year, taking over for CCA's current site.
San Francisco is on the rise.
Vanderbilt still needs regulatory approvals to operate in California, but Mayor Lurie touted the private university's arrival as a major boost to the city.
Because we know that if we want San Francisco to lead the future, we must compete for the institutions that shape it.
The new campus is expected to serve about 1,000 students, focusing on innovation, blending engineering, entrepreneurship, and the arts. Vanderbilt chancellor says the university also plans to preserve CCA's legacy, but for current students, that doesn't mean an automatic path forward.
That, may want to consider transferring to Vanderbilt, we will consider that, but that's a different conversation. We're not absorbing CCA in any way or shape or form.
CCA has been struggling financially for years, and last February received a $45 million donation to help it stay afloat, half coming from the CEO of tech giant NVIDIA. As word spread of its upcoming closure, the impact is already being felt far beyond the classroom. Mac Wark manages the art supply store on campus and says about 30% of his business comes directly from CCA students.
But it's just also kind of a big loss for the arts community in the Bay Area.
For business owners like Mac and students like Anna, the future now comes with a lot more questions than answers.
Well, time right now is 6:13. President Trump continuing his push for the U.S. to take control of Greenland. His message ahead of a White House meeting with Greenland leadership.
Beautiful Highway 1 and Big Sur finally set to reopen when these taillights that are red will turn the color of go when we come back.
And here's a live look outside as we wake up on a Wednesday morning. Thanks for being here. We'll be right back with your forecast. Well, we continue to follow breaking news this morning, so listen up if you take BART. This could impact your morning commute if you rely on BART's yellow line. Service has completely stopped between Concord and Orinda. This is due to a trackside power issue. Crews are currently on scene there. There is a bus bridge now. We're just learning this that has been established between the two stations there. So let's get a live look right now. You can see one of the buses just left as Commuters come in, that's the buses they'll ride to get in between wherever those BART stops are. But right now, between Concord and Orinda, no service, and those buses pretty trickle through there one after another. I did just learn from our photographer, Brian Kiley, who is there on scene, that traffic is pretty bad coming off of Highway 4 if you're headed to Concord, trying to get to the BART station. So if you are working your way westbound, maybe using the freeways instead of BART this morning. So you can see on the map here, right in the middle, 24 looks okay. If you want to skip BART and use the roadways instead, I'm going to show you Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, how that's pretty busy. So that commute will start building as well. And I do know westbound Highway 4 is quite busy as well. We saw some travel times and some speeds dipping down into the 20s as you head through there. So keep that in mind. Now, the rest of the Bay Area is moving along much better than what we're seeing for conditions on Highway 4. You can see San Mateo Bridge is crowded westbound as you head over to 101. But the BART issues only concentrated to the areas between Concord, Pleasant Hill, and Orinda. So plan for that this morning as you head out the door. That's a look at your morning commute.
Those live cameras are so valuable, and we continue that. We're watching live video from our monitor, streaming headlines from all across the globe this morning. And right now, we want to talk about the U.S. Supreme Court and whether the justices today will rule on this question. Did President Donald Trump have the authority in the first place to level massive tariffs on foreign nations? That decision could come this morning. Critics of the president say Congress holds the nation's purse strings and the legislative branch alone has the power over tariffs and not the executive branch, the presidency. So if Trump loses with the Supreme Court, companies who have paid tens of billions of dollars in tariffs could get refunds. Now, while the president watches that, he's also putting Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio in a meeting with Danish officials. Why? Mr. Trump continues to push for the U.S. to own and take over the territory known as Greenland. In fact, the president sounding off on social media saying anything less than having the island in the hands of the United States is unacceptable. He's also calling on NATO nations to help the U.S. get Greenland, arguing it's vital for U.S. national security interests. Greenland's prime minister says his country chooses Denmark, does not want to become a part of the United States. Meanwhile, President Trump hot under the collar over Senate Republicans joining with Senate Democrats to push forward something called the War Powers Resolution. This follows the president's capture of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Members of Congress say any further action needs to go through them. In response, Trump decries having his hands tied as he considers his next moves in Venezuela.
Now taking a live look outside on this Wednesday morning as we peek over towards the Santa Clara Valley. Look at this, all those twinkling lights as folks get up and at 'em to start your day. So time to get your forecast. And Jessica, I walked out the door today. I needed my jacket. It was quite chilly.
You and me both, girl. As we woke up and left that front door, and many other people too are probably thinking the same thing. Why on earth is it so chilly, but then these days are so nice? Well, we have all these clear skies all throughout the Bay Area, right? So as the sun starts to warm us up, it warms us up fast. But yeah, we're still exposed to chilly conditions into those overnight hours. Temperatures right now sitting in the 40s, 30s, and even 50s along the coast. But that temperature contour map warms us all the way up today. And the reason why I want to put it on is just to show you that contrast into the upper 60s this afternoon, just in places like San Jose and Los Gatos. Upper 60s today along our coastline too, where we still have that beach hazard statement that's going to remain in effect into the evening hours tonight. The National Weather Service brought that beach hazard statement back because we are seeing more rip currents and sneaker waves in the forecast for us as we head outside today. So I want you to be very mindful of that too. Now, as we head into the next couple days, temperatures are going to remain a little bit above average along our coastal spots. So it is enticing to head out there along the shoreline, but we are still sitting a little bit below average all the way off into places like the East Bay, sitting in the 50s this afternoon, while the rest of us are sitting nicely in the 60s. Also, another thing to mention too, our air quality is still sitting in that moderate category. So if you are getting out there and getting some fresh air and you notice a little bit of that haze, just be mindful of that, especially if you are sensitive to pollutant matter. Probably just want to limit your time outside if possible. Now, heading into the next couple days, this is interesting. For Thursday and Friday's forecast, we're also sitting in the mid-60s, but this is closer to the Bay, like San Francisco and Oakland. You make your way over into the coast, we're going to hold on tight to some upper 60s as we dive into this weekend's forecast. 70s right around the corner for our friends in the North Bay tomorrow, and then we average out heading back into the 60s by Sunday and Monday of next week with beautiful sunshine and not a drop of rain in sight. I'll have more on this coming up in a bit, but for now, back to you.
All right, time right now, 6:22. The 49ers got some great motivation as they gear up to take out the Seahawks. Matt Lively has that in your Red and Gold report. Well, the 49ers don't need any extra motivation for this Saturday's playoff game in Seattle.
No, but they've got another reason to win anyway this weekend. Now, Matt Lively has more from Santa Clara in this morning's Red and Gold Report.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
Quick turnaround for the 49ers as they get set to take on Seattle in the divisional round on Saturday, but no one is complaining. They're just happy that they're one of 8 teams still alive in the playoffs. Plus, they got some pretty good news this week. Fred Warner participated in walkthroughs Tuesday after San Francisco opened up his practice window. Warner's not expected to play Saturday, but he could be available next week if the Niners advance. The veteran linebacker dislocated and fractured his ankle in Week 6, but Kyle Shanahan says he won't hesitate to play Warner if he's medically cleared.
I'm approached by what doctors tell me. I mean, I'm like Fred. If he feels good and tells me he's good, I'm probably going to think he's good and trust him to get out there. He does that by showing how hard he's working on the side and knows that we're watching. And so he knows he doesn't have to do that to me as soon as he's ready. Obviously, it'll be zero decision on my part.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Matt Lively.
Time right now, 6:26. Good morning, everybody. Oakland powering on those speed cameras. As you get out and about this morning, be aware. Cameras are up to try to curb accidents, injuries, and deaths. We're going to show you where those cameras are and let you know how much you could be paying in fines.
And we continue tracking the BART disruption on the Yellow Line impacting your morning commute. There's currently no service between Pleasant Hill and Orinda stations. Our Veronica Macias is on scene there, and look at all those people trying to figure out what to do next. We'll have a live report coming up.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
While we continue to follow breaking news that could impact your morning commute, especially if you rely on BART's Yellow Line. So service has stopped between Concord and Orinda due to a trackside power issue. They sent an alert out via X earlier today. Crews are currently on scene and a bus bridge is in place now for those 2 stations. So our Veronica Macias is live from the Concord station with the latest on this disruption. And of course, commuters once again in a position, Veronica, where they're trying to figure out how to get to work, to school, or where they need to go.
Good morning. Yeah, here at the Concord station for BART, you could see a lot of people here now trying to figure out what their morning is going to be like, Gianna, now that we know at about 5:20, BART making that announcement that there's no service between Orinda here. And, this is the Yellow Line that, a lot of people all the way coming from Antioch are going to be dependent on. This morning, you have a lot of people who already are pulling out their phones, trying to see if they can get some sort of carpool going here, an Uber ride into their destination this morning. Good morning. Hi, what does this now BART stall for you mean this morning? Do you mind talking to us, and where were you headed?
I'm going to San Francisco, and it's been an hour and a half.
An hour and a half. This isn't the first time that we've covered a problem with BART. We know that there's a problem with the equipment this morning. Other than that, we don't know much, but it seems to happen repeatedly. How often has this happened to you, and how does it throw off your morning?
Oh, it's bad. It's been, I think, once maybe every month or 2, and yeah, it's ruined the whole plan. Now this only way I can go to work, so I just told my boss that I may or may not make it. It really depends. But yeah.
It might be a wasted day. Okay, we'll let you go because it seems like what they have going is a coordinated effort here, a bus bridge where people are going to be able to head over now to Orinda and then from there go on and take whatever it is, hop on the BART train and get to their destination heading into work this morning. But a lot of people, you could tell, just frustrated since this is, multiple times. It was just last week, I believe on Monday, that we were at a BART station. Thankfully, that situation resolved very quickly that morning. But this morning at about 5:20, we know that there is some sort of equipment problem that BART announced. So you have all these people now that are going to try to do their best and try to make the best of the situation, get to wherever it is they're trying to go. You see one woman here with a suitcase probably heading to SFO, hopefully not having any trouble here missing her flight this morning. But of course, this morning we'll bring you voices of people who have repeatedly had this issue with BART this morning. Hopefully we get some news from BART as to what is going on and when the problem can be resolved. Gianna?
Yeah, I'm sure they're very frustrated this morning. Veronica, thank you for that. And of course, we're going to keep tracking this throughout the morning and bring you updates as we get them. But you see, there was a bus right there from County Connection, which is the service that serves that area. So if you want to skip BART and use the roadways, I'm going to let you know Highway 4 is quite busy through that whole area down 680 heading into Concord. So if you typically take BART and you're going to skip the road or skip BART and use the roadways, Concord 242 to 680 is very slow this morning. I'll zoom in on that in just a second. If you're in Orinda getting on BART this morning, or we're planning to, westbound 24 is actually moving along pretty well. So you could skip BART, use the roadways there, and you'd probably be okay for a little while anyway, heading over towards BART or towards the Bay Bridge. So that's a possibility as an alternate to use the freeways this morning. That's a look at your morning commute.
All right, let's take a quick look outside. Sorry about that, Reed. I'm going to just steal this live shot and show you what's going on. Clear skies over San Francisco and Oakland. I want to show you what's happening for us as we head out the door. Starting off with the virtual reality map just below me. Here's what's going on for us. We have chilly temperatures in the forecast right now. 30s and 40s all throughout the North Bay, 40s over into Antioch, where we're not warming up too much more. It's 37 right now over into Livermore. So that temperature contour map is very chilly and very cool. We head outside into the afternoon hours today. Well, some of our microclimates are actually sitting above average. Let's take the South Bay, for example, in the upper 60s, close to the 70s. Tomorrow, we'll actually even see some 70s return to the Bay Area up into the North Bay, while some of our microclimates are struggling to warm up a bit more. For example, Antioch at 55 degrees today, 60s just over to the coast. Speaking of the coast, too, the National Weather Service has issued once again that beach hazard statement all along our shoreline, where we can see rip currents and sneaker waves. And I'll have more on this coming up in a bit and what that means for us as we head into this weekend's forecast. For now, back to you.
Okay, Jessica, thank you. Look at this. Drivers will once again be able to cruise the full Big Sur coastline. The stretch of Highway 1 near Lucia is set to reopen today after 3 years of off and on closures. The area was damaged by slides. It will now restore continuous coastal driving between the Bay Area and Southern California. It also brings some much needed relief to neighbors and tourism businesses that have struggled in that area with a sharp drop in traffic.
Okay, so listen up, drivers in the East Bay, Oakland drivers especially. Speed cameras, they're up and running. So here's the map where those 18 speed cameras are live. As you can see, many are in the downtown area on Oakland's east side. There's the map right there. This, of course, is in response by Oakland leaders to deadly crashes caused by speeding drivers. The city's own data shows that 2 people have been killed or seriously injured every week in Oakland crashes. Think about this. The problem areas are pretty clear. 8% of city streets are responsible for 60% of those crashes that are considered either severe or fatal. So job number 1 for the cameras up and running, catching drivers breaking the speed limit 10 miles an hour or more. If you do that, you'll pay fines up to $500. Oakland leaders say cameras will send out warnings the next 60 days, and then those fines, they'll be serious after that. This Oakland action follows San Francisco doing the very same thing. In fact, leaders in San Francisco say the cameras are changing behaviors. Look at this. After 16,000 fines hit drivers in the city, leaders report quite a drop, 42% in traffic deaths throughout 2025. So cameras as deterrents spreading to other cities in the Bay. San Jose adding cameras to what they already have, which are 4 red light runner cameras that were installed last year.
Well, moving around the Bay for headlines in your community, families are on the move in Lake County. A massive sewage spill is prompting a local emergency declaration. The city of Clear Lake sharing this video right here with us. You see here. Look at that mess there. Well, a 16-inch line, which is leading to a water treatment plant, ruptured, sending sewage pouring into people's backyards. What a mess. In a creek nearby, at least 50 properties were impacted, with most of the families evacuated to nearby hotels. Lake County is telling people in the area to not touch or use water unless you are connected to a municipal water system. Well, let's head to the South Bay. San Jose just approved a record-breaking payout to Kawan Green, a young man shot by a cop after disarming a gunman. The city will pay Green $8 million, its largest police shooting settlement ever. In 2022, Green disarmed someone during a fight at a taqueria and was shot 4 times by Officer Mark McNamara. McNamara later resigned after a racist text scandal where he mocked the shooting. Green survived. The city admits no fault but settled to avoid a court trial. Well, we have more details about a high-stakes smash-and-grab robbery out of Fremont. Several suspects are now facing serious charges. A federal grand jury indicted 4 people tied to a violent jewelry store heist at Kumar Jewelers. Investigators say they helped pull off a $1.7 million smash-and-grab with more than 24 masked robbers. If convicted, the suspects each face up to 25 years in prison and a $250,000 fine.
To the North Bay now, where San Rafael's Planning Commission put the building of a high-rise on the fast track. Now, despite opposition from a lot of residents who wanted to slow the project to try to get an environmental study done, developers will go ahead with the next steps to build what will be San Rafael's tallest building at 17 stories. In fact, here's a look at a map to give you an idea of where other tall buildings could rise there in the North Bay community. You know, in November, we told you about an 8-story building near Boyd Memorial Park. That one got the green light. And a 13-story building on 5th Avenue approved. Those 2 buildings added together could bring 300 apartments. That's in addition to the one that the Planning Commission greenlit last night. Our Kenny Choi spoke with neighbors and business owners about the changing face of San Rafael as leaders try to meet a state mandate for more housing, not only there, but all over the Bay.
An empty office building sits off the 101 freeway in San Rafael. Residents say what could replace it at 700 Irwin Street will worsen already heavily congested traffic. Will Karnofsky operates a mobile knife sharpening service in a nearby grocery store parking lot.
I tend to look at the challenges of my day, which are more directed around travel.
Karnofsky isn't sure whether a proposed 17-story residential high-rise with 200 units and commercial space makes sense. But he also sees the benefits of more foot traffic for small businesses.
There's always an advantage to having more population in a condensed area.
The office will be 180 feet tall, more than 3 times the height of the existing vacant office building. That doesn't sit well with San Rafael resident Terry Notary.
We only have so much space, and now they're going to start going up. That's going to make it more and more crowded all the time. I just don't get it.
Down the street, demolition has already begun for another housing project that's 8 stories with more than 200 units at 930 Irwin Street. Royal Thai Restaurant, a stone's throw away from the construction site, says 90% of its business is now takeout. Small business operators in the city's French Quarter area believe hundreds of new residential units within walking distance will be a big boost for business. The developer is using housing streamlining laws like SB 330 to exceed local height limits and the state's density bonus law to build twice the number of apartments that would otherwise be allowed at the site. City officials didn't comment on the Irwin Street site, but did confirm more than 100 sites in the city have been identified as housing opportunities, meeting the city's goal of 3,200 new units by 2031. That means Karnofsky might sharpen more knives, but it could take longer to get here.
It's difficult for us commuters to have to plan, take more time out of our day to drive.
I'm sorry, but it's getting so crowded. I've lived here 58 years, and the last 5 years has been, whew.
It's on the minds of residents and commuters alike.
Well, a lot of residents still have a shot to have their voices heard as the San Rafael City Council members will now consider what the Planning Commission has approved. We will be there. The 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles are still 2 years away, but listen up, the ticket countdown starts this morning. In fact, starting in about 19 minutes, fans can register online for a random lottery that gives them a chance to have their butts in the seats down in LA. If they are selected, they'll get an email with a time window to purchase seats in April. So today's the first step. There are about 1 million tickets priced at $28, and many more are available just under $100. You've got to go if you can. The Olympics are a blast.
28 to 100, that doesn't sound too crazy.
No.
Yeah.
A lot of family memories to be made. All right. Here's something else you can go to. Get ready to pop some bottles at Bottle Rock. Tickets go on sale this morning.
Yeah, the lineup is out for this year's Bottle Rock Music Festival in Napa Valley.
Backstreet's back, all right.
You heard it. You heard that right. The Backstreet Boys, they will be headlining the festival, bringing in some serious throwback vibes. Also co-headliners with one of my favorites, include the Foo Fighters. Lil Wayne, Lord will also be in attendance. Bottle Rock draws huge crowds over Memorial Day weekend every year, and this one runs from May 22nd through the 24th. Really fun foodie event also.
Yeah, but Gianna rolls with Grow.
Oh, yes, I do.
Time right now is 6:42. ICE and Border Patrol agents amass in Minnesota as news develops this morning. In the days after a federal agent shot a woman to death, why a mass resignation of federal prosecutors happened, as Minnesota lawyers say, we're going to sue the Trump administration.
Let's peek outside and say good morning to this view as we wake up on a Wednesday. We'll be right back with your forecast. Okay, welcome back. An update to breaking news we've been following throughout the morning. BART says they just restored service on the Yellow Line. This is between Orinda and Concord. They made the announcement here at the Concord station earlier and started opening up those gates once again. So people are headed through there and getting on BART once again this morning. So BART officials tell us this was the result of a fire at a substation in Lafayette that interrupted power. But again, BART just restored service and is back up and running. And hopefully that will be good for a lot of commuters who use that area to get to work or school. Okay, we're watching live video from our many monitors that bring us headlines from not just here in the Bay Area, but across the globe. At least 6 federal prosecutors in Minnesota have resigned over how the Justice Department is handling the shooting death of Renee Good by an ICE officer. Sources say they felt pressured to dig into Good's activism and the actions of other protesters instead of focusing on the officer who pulled the trigger. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche says the department still doesn't see any basis for a criminal civil rights case against that officer. Well, if you're a Kaiser member, you could get money from a $46 million data breach settlement. The lawsuit claims Kaiser shared personal information with tech companies without consent. Anyone who used Kaiser's website or app between 2017 and 2024 in 9 states, and that includes California, can file by March 12th. Most payouts will range between $20 to $40, and payments will go out after final court approval in May. We'll have more details on our website at kpix.com.
Time now for a look at what's coming up later on CBS Mornings. Here's Vladimir Duthier.
Good morning, Reed. Coming up on CBS Mornings, we'll have more of CBS News' exclusive interview with President Trump, what he told evening news anchor Tony DeCopel about the unrest in Iran, the economy, and the killing of a woman by an ICE agent in Minnesota. Plus, the horror thriller Sinners is generating a lot of awards buzz. It just won 2 Golden Globes and will be joined by some of the movie's stars, including Michael B. Jordan. And the second season of the Paramount Plus hit Landman premiered to record numbers. Star Ali Larter is also here in studio to talk about the show's huge success. We'll see you at 7.
All right, Vlad, we'll see you then. But right now, we want to take a look outside as we grab our coffee, tea, hot chocolate, whatever you drink in the morning. And look at this view, Jessica. The sun is up and saying hello.
It is saying hello. And as we wake up and head out the door, those partly cloudy skies off into the East Bay will clear up significantly. We're going to see blue skies all throughout the Bay Area throughout this afternoon. Current conditions right now, though, off to a pretty chilly start. 30s and 40s all throughout the Bay Area. That temperature contour map warms up quick, though. As we head into the afternoon hours today, we're actually sitting a little bit above average along our coastal communities. While as we zoom all the way into the East Bay, it's another chilly day for us today, only topping off to 55 degrees in Antioch, 59 in Concord. Notice the difference as we head all the way over into our coastal communities, though. One thing I do want to say, if you were thinking today's the day I really want to get out there and get some fresh air and head into the water because it's so warm along the coast compared to some of our inland spots, today is not the day to do it. We had that beach hazard statement still in effect, and this is issued by the National Weather Service. It's just a friendly reminder that we could see sneaker waves and rip currents, and it's not the best conditions out there along the shoreline, anywhere from Monterey up into Salinas, all the way up into places like Santa Cruz, and of course back into San Francisco as well. Let me drop this real fast and show you some other things going on for us. Today and tomorrow, we're still dealing with not the best air quality. We're in a moderate category right now, and with light winds, it doesn't really break that apart much more at the surface level. Current winds right now up to around 5 to 15 miles per hour. Similar conditions into the afternoon hours today, around 2 o'clock. Some of the breeziest spots, places like San Francisco, all the way over into Oakland with those offshore winds, keeping us nice and clear into the afternoon hours. But for the most part, like I said, today and tomorrow, air quality is still sitting in that moderate category. We take a look at the next 7 days, we'll continue to see clear skies, maybe a little bit of that haze today and tomorrow, but by Friday, heading into this weekend, some of the winds start to pick up. We'll continue to see temperatures just a little bit below average in those inland spots, a little bit above average along the coast, and then some partly cloudy skies start rolling in as early as mid next week. Still not a drop of rain in sight, though. This is that nice little dry stretch that we've all been waiting for since around Christmas to New Year's when we were dealing with such heavy rain. For now, back to you.
All right, Jessica, thank you. Let's talk about the roadways right now as we get ready to get you rolling on some of those freeways. So good news, as we've been covering all morning long, BART was dealing with some delays and issues for that area between Concord and Orinda. Everything is now back on track, so things are running along pretty good through there. Traffic, though, on the freeways getting busy this morning. I'm going to zoom in here. You might see an uptick on cars for people deciding to take the roadways instead. Pleasant Hill down into Walnut Creek on 680, very slow. There is a crash not too far from that 24 and 680 connectors, so keep in mind there. Highway 4 backed up into Pittsburgh, almost to Antioch at this point, all the way into Bay Point, so a bit slow there. Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, though, business as usual. You've got some busy conditions there heading into San Francisco. And over at the San Mateo Bridge, look at that. It is crowded. Lots of people up and at 'em. Get ready to make that ride as they cruise across the bridge over towards 101 this morning. Busy. That's a look at your morning commute. Okay, former Food Network host and North Bay resident Guy Fieri is inviting folks around the Bay Area to experience what he calls Flavortown, the Flavortown experience ahead of next month's Super Bowl.
I'll move right into that town. He is actually hosting this tailgate at the Cow Palace on Super Bowl Sunday. How does this sound? A Flavortown cheeseburger burrito.
I can already smell
I love that. Kobe beef sliders and the Nacho Rama. I mean, anything that's a Nacho Rama, there it is, all piled up, stacked up, is gorgeous to me. Admission is free. However, Gianna, you have to have a ticket if you want guaranteed access to those tasting experiences. And take note, that tailgate ends before kickoff, so if you go, you're going to have to find somewhere else to watch the big game. More events to keep you entertained at the Cow Palace on Super Bowl weekend. Friday, February 6th, Shaq's Funhouse DJ set featuring musical guests like T-Pain. And on Saturday, Sports Illustrated hosts The Party. You didn't know, but it was The Party. It's The Party. And here's why. The Chainsmokers, Ludacris, and some surprise guests will be joining. Exciting.
It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, time right now is 6:52. Jumping into the new year in freezing cold water. You do this, Reed.
Yes, I just bought a new cold plunge.
All right. Well, we're going to take a deep dive into the cold plunge wellness trend and its potential benefits up next.
Time now for your Money Watch reports. Wall Street trading right now. It's 6:55 in the morning. We're glad you're with us. As you can see, we're in negative territory today, but not nearly as negative territory as we were yesterday. Of course, we know Dow futures were down about 40 points going into trading, so we'll watch that throughout the day. Breaking overnight, less than a year after Saks closed its Union Square location, Saks Fifth Avenue's parent company files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Some blame the decision by Saks Global to buy Neiman Marcus back in 2024. That transaction brought a lot of debt during a time when we know this. Brick and mortar stores all over the country struggle to stay open. Saks says they will remain open during bankruptcy reorganization. Heavy-hitting voices in business sounding the alarm after President Donald Trump calls for a one-year 10% cap on credit card interest rates. So listen up. Bank CEOs, credit card issuers, and investors say the proposed cap could upend basic economics. Mr. Trump called for that cap in a Truth Social post Friday, saying he wanted policy to take effect January 20th.
Okay, so if you didn't start the year with a polar bear plunge, don't worry. There's still plenty of time to join the cold plunge craze. Reed, I can't even dip my toe in a cold swimming pool. I don't know how you do it.
I have an old trough out in my backyard, and it's the way to start the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, that and caffeine. More gyms and wellness centers are doing what I do on the cheap at home. They're offering these services, they say, especially for men, and do study there are some differences between men and women in cold plunges. For guys especially, benefits like reduced inflammation, sharper mental acuity and focus. Christian Benavides shows you what it's all about.
This winter in Miami, it's freezing. Customers at the ice room slide into the tub, lowering into water as cold as 36 degrees for about 2 minutes on purpose.
My body is going through a lot of high impact movements.
Competitive athlete Kevin Arayana added a cold plunge to his fitness recovery regimen about 6 months ago and says the benefits are instant.
Immediately when I come out, I feel relaxed, I feel energized, I feel refreshed, mentally clear.
Director of Operations Kathy Orjuela says plunging is getting more and more popular.
Wellness is not something that you do anymore when something goes wrong. It's something that people are building into their daily routines.
It's not necessarily my daily routine.
Whoa, wow,
It took a few tries to finally get in. If the tub is too much to consider right now, you can test the waters in the privacy of your own home. Experts say end your daily shower standing under 30 to 60 seconds of cold running water.
I think it's always important to weigh the risk benefit and to really understand what the risk is for you as an individual.
Physical medicine and rehabilitation specialist Dr. Craig Van Dien says the activity is not recommended for people with heart or lung conditions. But
most of the evidence that's out there today supports cold plunging for recovery after exercise, so particularly your high intensity exercise.
Ariana's regimen here includes compression therapy, an infrared sauna, and finally, the cold plunge.
You could be somebody that's dealing with mental stress, physical stress. Cold plunging, in a way, helps you overcome that.
He says getting cold feet never felt so good.
I like what Christian said there at the end. Okay, you know, to that point too, taking 30 seconds at the end of your shower to just wash off in cold water. I do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I can dip myself into icy cold water.
Yeah, the thing is, you just have to study it because there are varying studies about it, but I love it. It just is a great way to sort of have a mental and physical reset at the same time. Neighbors, I'm sorry for the bad words that come over the fence when I go under.
All right, well, coming up on Pix Plus 44 Cable 12, big moves from Apple as and its future with AI with artificial intelligence. We'll be discussing why they choose rival Google over ChatGPT in our Wired Wednesday segment. Okay.
Hello. My name is Pix Plus 44 Cable Channel 12. Much more on the Book of Mormon musical coming to the Bay next. Hello.